The man had just massacred his enemy's entire family, only to be forced by his godfather to marry their daughter. Even more outrageous, on their wedding night, he tore his bride's wedding dress to shreds, simply because it was the dress he had prepared for his beloved. Unbeknownst to him, the woman he had so humiliated was none other than the woman he had searched for years, the one who had saved his life years ago. The story begins at that bloody birthday party. Notice that the boy's name is Julian, the sole heir of the Orsini family. At the birthday party, he made a wish, hoping that together with his father, they could plant the family's flag in every corner of the city. His father's eyes were filled with pride, but neither of them could have imagined the impending catastrophe. Suddenly, gunshots rang out. The Rossetti family, their enemies, launched a bloody attack. The party, filled with laughter and joy one moment, transformed into a living hell the next. To protect Julian, his father ordered his men to take him away quickly, while he resolutely turned to face an enemy many times their number. The Rossetti family has sent a congratulatory gift. The enemy's arrogant laughter, mingling with his father's falling figure, became a nightmare that haunted Julian for the rest of his life. Seriously wounded, Julian fled desperately, taking refuge in a kitchen. There, he encountered a girl also hiding. The girl, seeing his bleeding wounds, showed no fear. Instead, she tore off a piece of her skirt and gently bandaged them. Her name was Mary, and she had run away from the boring manor. Before the pursuers arrived, Mary handed Julian a card with a safe house address, urging him to leave quickly, and firmly told him, "I swear, I will get you out of here." Looking into the girl's clear eyes, Julian vowed that after his revenge, he would find this girl codenamed Phoenix and repay her for saving his life. Unbeknownst to him, this kind-hearted girl was none other than Maggie, the eldest daughter of his enemy, the Rossetti family. Years later, Julian fulfilled his vow of revenge. He transformed into a vengeful tyrant, leading the Orsini family in a triumphant return, uprooting the Rossetti family and personally eliminating all those involved in the massacre. Now, his gun was pointed at Maggie, the last heir of the Rossetti family. He vowed to make all Rossetti pay for their crimes in blood, to appease his father's spirit in heaven. However, just as he was about to pull the trigger, his godfather suddenly appeared, to quell the conflict between the two families and restore order to the city. The godfather issued an order that Julian could not accept: marry the daughter of his enemy. "I will never marry her." Julian was consumed by rage, but the godfather's order was not to be disobeyed. He looked at the daughter of the enemy who had destroyed his family, his eyes filled with hatred. To appease his godfather, he feigned compliance, pulling Maggie into his arms in front of everyone, saying "Yes, ma'am," while secretly vowing to make her life a living hell. Maggie, however, was equally resilient. She knew that only by surviving could she avenge her family, so she had no choice but to accept this humiliating arrangement. A war called marriage had begun. Meanwhile, Julian treasured a wedding dress. It was specially prepared for his savior, Phoenix, whom he had searched for 4 years, her only clue being a white phoenix birthmark on her body. His adopted daughter, who always considered herself Julian's sister, was consumed by jealousy of his obsessive love. She secretly took the keycard to the secret room where the wedding dress was kept, and a conspiracy against Maggie was brewing. She wanted to make Maggie wear this wedding dress that wasn't hers, to thoroughly enrage Julian, and use him to eliminate this thorn in her side. On their wedding day, Julian's face was more grim than at a funeral. He felt that marrying a woman from the Rossetti family was worse than death, but when Maggie appeared in the wedding dress he had prepared for Phoenix, he froze. For a fleeting moment, he seemed to see the girl who had redeemed him in the darkness years ago, but the next instant, a raging fire consumed him. "How dare you wear this dress?" He was convinced that this despicable Rossetti woman had stolen the dress, trying to defile his most sacred memory. On their wedding night, Julian dragged Maggie into the room and, in front of her, frantically tore at the pristine wedding dress. "You don't deserve it." He shoved the barely clothed Maggie in front of the mirror, forcing her to see her humiliated state. "I'll make you remember this shame. You'll never replace her." Maggie fought back tears, her nails digging deep into her palms. She vowed in her heart that one day, she would make this devil pay for his crimes in blood. The next day, a battered and bruised Maggie received breakfast rewarded by Julian. She vowed to survive and find a way to escape this hell. However, as she picked up her fork, she found a card in her plate. This card was exactly the same as the one she had given to the injured boy years ago. Maggie was instantly shocked. Could this demon who had tormented her all night be the same person she had risked her life to save? She rushed out to confront Julian, card in hand, but he shoved her aside, convinced she was up to some new sympathy-seeking trick. Meanwhile, her scheming adopted sister was crying to Julian, claiming she had accidentally lost the keycard to the secret room, framing Maggie in the process. This further solidified Julian's belief that Maggie was a cunning and venomous snake. While he dispatched a citywide search for the girl with the phoenix birthmark, he also developed complex feelings for Maggie. He spoke of torturing her, yet when his men returned the torn wedding dress, he meticulously inspected it, afraid of even the slightest damage. Even his men couldn't help but whisper among themselves, "Boss, don't you think this wedding dress actually suits her quite well? Wait, could she be? ... Double quotes. Julian's heart skipped a beat. Would he discover the truth? And what will become of the two people shrouded in hatred and misunderstanding?